Hey guys, and welcome to Smells Like Teen Angst, and we are here to talk about Gossip Girl Season 2, Episode 7. Yay! And look who's back!
We miss you so much.
Oh, I missed you guys.
If you watched last week's at all, we literally just had like a moment of like, we miss Shawn.
Oh, you guys.
And you know who would have probably the same opinion? Shawn.
Yes.
I know. Well, Shawn, we love you. So real quick, tell everyone who you are.
I'm Shawn. I am the creator of Lost in the Reel on YouTube, also on Instagram and TikTok. I've been doing that more, where I talk about movies, TV shows, and I do quick reviews and also long reviews as well. And yeah, check me out.
He's awesome. And Kiki.
I'm Kiki, and I'm always here, guys. And you can find me here, and on TikTok here, and on Instagram here.
She's everywhere you want to be. She's
everywhere.
Like Visa. you know.
I prefer American Express, only accepted in exclusive circles.
There you go. Shawn, since we didn't have you for a few episodes, are there any moments that stood out to you that you want to mention or talk about?
Yeah, so we've been very critical of this show for quite a while, but I love where this show is going, and I'm so excited to talk about episode 7 today because I think this is where it's finally catching its groove. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. It still has its issues, but at the same time, I'm ready for more, and I can't say that's how I felt before.
Agreed. So let's start. Like the way this episode went down, I literally had to so much went on. I had to pause and take notes and pause and take notes and pause and rewind because I was like, wait, what just happened? Because this episode is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It is absolutely banoodles. But can I just say one thing?
Yes.
Welcome, Georgina. Welcome, bitch. Thank you. You are the Thanos of Gossip Girl right now. You have snapped everything back into place, and I will forever love you for that because I'm so in right now, and I was on my way out for a really long time.
100%. But can we say really quickly, they need to keep Georgina. They do not need to get rid of her.
Agreed.
It felt a little bit at the end of this episode like she was going to disappear. And I was like,
I don't want it.
I like this. We all need this mother.
Yes. She's our Gossip Girl godmother. she's not the godfather. She's the godmother. She's incredible. So at the top of this episode, we have Kiki is launching her brand with Mrs. Waldorf. Audrey's dad, who we have, Kiki, Audrey's dad, who we have yet to meet. We are finally getting to meet him, as well as the assistant he ran off with. And they're in town, and Audrey's not telling her mom because she's got this huge launch and she doesn't want her to freak out, which I completely understand. They go to this breakfast before 8 a.m. and my first thought was I'm sorry, what?
Before 8 a.m.?
Before 8 a.m. He's like, it's only 8. It's not even 8 a.m. I was like, what time is it? What time are your stomachs awake? Because mine is not.
Also, maybe it's a LA thing, but I have never seen a restaurant that packed before 8 a.m. If I get a before 8 a.m. breakfast, it's me and 4 other old people. No matter how nice it is.
So on point, Kiki.
That's why I was like, oh, this has to be a weekend. There's no way they're going to school. But they were eating and going to school. So
anyway. Maybe it's a New York thing.
And that's not brunch. That's definitely not brunch.
No, that was not brunch.
It's breakfast.
Breakfast. So while they're all there, like Audrey has Julian with her as support. She's got Aki and Max, and her dad's like trying to be very supportive of this throuple. And he's just like, so talk to you. And Max is going on this whole thing about not feeling worthy enough, like to impress her father. And he tries to offer like Broadway tickets or like, I just love this moment. He's like, well, aren't those for people who can't afford them and not for people who can? And I said, these parents.
I love this. I love this whole storyline with Max because we finally see someone who's not head over heels for Max's shenanigans, Like we see another side of him like trying to get in the good graces of somebody. And we've not seen this side of Max before. So I like seeing him kind of like squirm in his knickers a little bit.
Yes, me too. And then you have Julian, who's also going toe-to-toe with Audrey's dad. And she gives him these like backhanded compliments in a way, like bringing up Audrey's mom and like saying, that she needs to have a stable home and a dad who sticks around and like all this stuff. And I was just like, oh, because he tries to bring up her dad. And she's like, no, sir, we're not going to have this game.
I really was there for this Julian for digging back.
100%.
And I was a little taken aback by Audrey trying to make her calm down. I was like, wait, what?
Where did that even come from? It was so strange.
Girl, let your friend for you. What are you doing?
Yeah. And so like Julian excuses herself to go to the bathroom and then Jessica follows her and like fangirls, fake apologizes and denies it was even a affair. And then she asks to be on Stop the Story. And I'm like, the audacity of this woman. What'd you say, Shawn?
The audacity of this bitch, because also though, Julian, learn your lesson. Why are you falling for this woman right now? That's all I have to say.
I know. Well, Julian is a meddler now. They've allowed her to like go back to being a meddler and always and a fixer and someone who makes everything about herself, which is where Julian really shines as a character and makes her interesting. Instead of this season and a half of her fighting her true nature and trying to be a better person. The whole reason we love Gossip Girl is they are terrible people that we love.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like Blair is terrible. Chuck Bass is terrible. Yes. Serena Vanderwoodson is terrible. While Jessica and Julian are having their moment in the bathroom, Audrey's dad tells her that he's gonna propose. And she has like the weirdest reaction. And she's just like, can you just like wait a couple days? Like just wait for, so like Kiki can have her show and be happy and whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, we can wait. It's not a problem. She's always wanted to get married and like in France. She loves France. We'll just do it in France. And of course, that's not what's going to happen. And then Audrey and Julian talk about it. And Audrey is still attacking Julian because Julian's like, this engagement? And she's having the reaction that Audrey should be having.
Yes.
And I don't... And after watching this episode unfold, I understand why she's reacting this way, but it does a little bit kind of come out of nowhere. Like she's always been upset with her father and always been upset with the assistant and very supportive of her mom. So for her not to act that way,
I was
a lot of left field.
So confused because I really thought I missed a setup somewhere.
No,
like I literally went back and I was like, did I miss something? And I was like, I did not miss anything. Why are you so team daddy right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe there's something from season 1 that we're not remembering in order to kind of set up this new Julian Audrey rivalry, because that's kind of this weird thing that has started to happen at the top of this episode with this breakfast. And for those watching, if you remember something from season 1 that would validate this, please let me know, because I think I just blocked that season out because I didn't like it so much. So Jennifer, well, I can't read today, guys. Gossip Girl starts sending messages about both of them because Georgina has basically convinced Kate, like, this is the version you need to be after last episode. You need to stir the pot. You're the one who starts the drama. You're the one who controls the narrative. And Kate's kind of like, No, but yes. So she's getting in on this game and she starts putting out lies and she's saying like Julian knew about the affair before she did. And like, so now Audrey's mad about that. And then in order to prove that she didn't, Julian confesses that whole thing at the beginning of the season that she sent Gossip Girl all those tips.
I was surprised that they weren't more mad than they were.
I know.
I was like, people are reacting about this way better than expected. I don't know if it's maybe because this is what they've always expected from Julian, but we didn't know this Julian ever. So we're just like,
no,
okay.
Because remember season 1, Obie kept talking so much shit about her, being like, you're such a bad person. Like, you only care about yourself. But we never got that version of her. They only talked about that version of her. And so now we're kind of now getting, I guess, that version of her. And it's like, okay, like, yeah, I'm a little...
Okay.
You're okay? Oh, I'm okay with it too.
Yeah.
Been from day one. This episode is what this show should have been from day one. I don't know what they were thinking. Literally from episode 5 on, this is what the show should have always been.
It's juicy in all the best places. Okay. And the addition, and I think you've brought this up, Sarah, before, is they used the parents and the adults in such a great way in the original series. And now they're finally taking advantage of these adults and actually doing something with them and giving them conflict and good storylines.
Yes. Finally. And speaking of more parents, Julian says yes to the Stop the Story with Jessica.
I know. I was like, girl, do you have 0 ounces of loyalty? Can you not stop meddling to save your life? Do you have to?
Yeah.
This is the wrong space to be in. And of course, we all know how it went. It blew up.
It blew up. Of course it did. She's still
sit there and lie and create her own narrative. And in true Gigi, like old school Gigi fashion, there was another camera.
Yes, I loved it.
Angle. I loved it. And Jessica still got her fake story out, therefore assassinating Kiki's line drop. Which,
yeah, because Jessica's saying it was her idea and that Kiki has stolen all her ideas for years. And you're like, excuse me? So
I'm sorry, this woman is pure evil. She's almost as bad as Georgina, I feel like. This Jessica woman.
And the fact that her ex-husband is like, he knows what she's doing. Like, like he's not dumb. He's not oblivious. He's like, why not? Let's do it.
He's
just
like
to get her line off the ground.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then again,
honestly though, I could see like, oh, well, the husband probably feels like he's been kicked out of the circle because these elites sided with Kiki.
Yeah.
And he's not used to having a wife who has 0 control or power of the industry.
Ew.
So why not create your own monster? And that's what he's doing with Jessica. And also, I was like, a little tisk on you, Kiki, because if you fire people, you got to change the logins.
Yeah.
Yeah, girl.
She made a mistake.
Girl. Yeah. Like, come on now. You got to change passwords, girl. But, Kiki was dealing with her own stuff. She started dealing with her own mental health and her own addiction. Like, she spiraled. So, changing passwords wasn't at the top of her list. And then, of course, Julian tries to do more damage control and calls Mrs. Waldorf and everything about the whole thing. It's like, ma'am, the more you get involved, the more mess you make. But that's also what makes a good episode.
Little lipstick update.
While you do that, let's talk Kate and Gossip Girl, because Georgina and Kate, as we mentioned earlier, are fighting what they believe Gossip Girl could be. And I think the fact that Kate is giving in and taking it in this direction is fantastic.
Agreed. It's showing her true nature. Kate has always wanted this, I feel like. She's always wanted to be like right in the thick of things, but she's just like, she also has that little angel on her shoulder too that's telling her no, which might be her man, who we'll talk about in a little bit. But she's always had that like conscious telling her like, no, like don't like manipulate the situation. But now that she has Georgina's blessing, I guess it's totally copacetic.
And I love that Georgina goes, you don't play God, you are God.
Exactly. And I love there was a line that she has towards the end where she's like, I want to be an apex predator. And I was like, thank you. That's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
You should be chomping down the stories. You create and control. Why are you just leaning on all these children to tell you what to do? You're being manipulated. Manipulate back.
And I love that she also goes, we need to create a new rivalry. We need a new basic Blair and Serena. Like, it's like, yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. We need it. And it didn't work when it was Julian and Zoya. You need it to, and it did. No. It almost worked with Monet, but I do like where this is headed more.
Completely agree.
Yeah, and I love that she's like, I'm planning my full Chernobyl at the luncheon. Get ready. I'm just like, oh no, this is going to be amazing. And then we see Georgina gets off the phone and she's at like Macintosh, which I didn't know they had like iMac, like MacBook, Apple, but Windows version stores. I didn't know that. And that's where Jordan is working. And
she's in a Windows store.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I didn't know that there was such thing as a Windows store. Like literally in LA, we have like an Apple store across the street from the Apple store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No Windows stores.
I'm like, is it a window? I know that's a processor. I don't know, whatever. But she's like, she meets Jordan on Hinge. And so like, she's manipulating him too still. And I'm just like, oh man.
Yeah.
Georgina. Welcome back, bitch.
God, girl.
Welcome back, bitch. We missed you.
I hated her on Gossip Girl, but I hated her because this is who she was.
Yeah.
Right?
And this is what we've needed in this iteration of Gossip Girl is a Georgina.
You need someone to snatch it back. You know,
raise those stakes, baby.
They had the teachers fighting with each other in the circle last year of too many hands in the pot. And look, if there's going to be multiple hands in the pot, they need to be hands that do something. And Georgina's those hands, okay? Because she actually throws hands, okay? She goes for the jugular. And I like that.
Every time. Zoya and Monet. So at the end of last episode, Monet gets that boy expelled, the boy who leaks the sex tape, right? And so Zoya's trying to be nice and she wants to thank her and brings her these scones. And Monet is so dismissive and rude and denies doing anything because she can't show that she has feelings. And then her mother comes in. And now her mom is playing a game with Zoya. And she's like, you come to the luncheon with me because there's going to be this fancy luncheon where all the who's are going to be there. And she like takes her out to lunch. How does she take her out from school? How did she sign her out? Is she
a mistress fan?
You know, yeah. You know what I mean? I had that thought. I was like, you have to like be on a special list to sign children out of school. Anyway.
I don't know. They're past those limitations though, I feel like these kids.
So Monet's mom is going to take Zoya to this luncheon. And of course, Monet learns about it and gets jealous. So I'm just like, what is Mrs. DeHaan up to? Like, why has she now chosen Zoya for some of this stuff?
Oh, I totally sussed this out. This has to do with Nick.
Oh.
Come on. He's working for her dad, you know.
Right.
They're probably forcing Nick to do some things that he doesn't want to do. And by weaving Zoya up in it, it'll make it hard for him to say no. Because then it becomes, well, I guess your daughter's not getting into this school, or guess who's losing their scholarship, or guess who, blah, 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 you know?
And
I see
did say that
coming down the road. She can't be that stupid, but she is.
She did say that thing to Zoya when she brought the scones. It was like, oh, you're nice like your father. Like, I thought that was an interesting little side comment. Like, What does she mean by that?
I don't know. Like, maybe easily manipulated like her dad, you know?
Exactly.
Which she is, unfortunately.
Yeah. She's also 15, though.
I know, exactly. She's a child. Like, it's fine. We get a lovely little Max and Luna moment finally because we love Max and Luna together.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. And he's asking advice on how to win Audrey's father over, which of course he doesn't take. Because why would he? And instead he sneaks into like a Harvard grad only gym club thing. to play racquetball with him. And again, her dad rips him a new asshole and just drags him on the ground. And it's stunning.
You know, it is stunning. And I think that maybe her dad sees a little bit of himself in Max and his like, kind of like, I don't know, sociopathic almost kind of, and not that Max isn't a sociopath, but like maybe he sees himself in his like narcissistic ways in this kid. And he's like, I don't want that for my daughter. That's what I was thinking at first.
I can see that. I think that's really good. Because,
that's smart.
Mm-hmm.
Max has this crazy need to be liked.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
And, you know, especially when we're young.
That was for myself.
I was like, that's rude. I don't give a fuck if you like me. No, I'm just like, but especially when we're young, we really care what others think.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And I think him and this whole relationship thing, and I think this was the first time I actually remembered him saying it, that this is his first ever relationship.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that. So, you know, you don't want to be on anyone's bad side at that point. Yeah. Everything's brand new to you. You just want to play the role perfectly. Mm-hmm. And he's just trying to make up for it. He doesn't want to be the weak link.
Yeah.
And I think what Luna says to him at one point is like, you are not showing like weakness. You're like learning, basically. You know, you're like, this is just a learning experience, and it's okay that someone doesn't like you, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he's like, absolutely not. I got to win him over.
Nope.
And I'm out. He gets his ass kicked at racquetball. Mm-hmm. And it's beautiful. Obie, guys, how have I gone from hating a character and finding him so useless to loving him all of a sudden and his entire storyline?
Because he was written right this time.
Yes. Yes.
It is proof. It is proof that he always had the capability.
Yeah.
The lines were wrong.
Also, as an actor, the kid's really good. And he's selling this story with him and his mom and their fight and all of that intrigue that's happening.
Yeah.
And then, like, I don't know, like, he has just stepped up so many levels in the past couple of episodes.
Oh my gosh.
God.
We get his sister again, which I was upset in the last one. Like, she was there for 10 seconds, but she's kind of in this one a little bit more. And he confronts her sister about the whole thing that her mom is doing and how Daniela unalived herself. And he wants to, like, prove that his mother is a part of this, and like he's like, what's it matter? She's a billionaire. She'll basically get a slap on the wrist. Mm-hmm. She won't, like, she'll do time in a white collar jail for like 3 months. And the sister actually feels guilty too because of what happened with Daniela, and she blurts out everything that happened and that she has the documents to prove it, and that they're gonna get them and send them to Gossip Girl. And so he's gonna be Julian's +1 to this crazy luncheon that's about to go down. And I'm just like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's
I
so
love
good.
it too.
I'm like, Obie, I'm glad that they didn't get rid of you.
Where were you this whole time? You? I don't know. Was it what Kiki, what did you call this woman that he was with before?
The mumbling girl? Grace?
The mumbler? Kmart something?
I don't know. Kmart Blair?
No, that's not what it was.
Anyways, whatever she was, I hated her, and maybe she was bringing him down because
they threw him into this weird storyline with that girl.
Yeah, and that storyline sucked, but now they've got it, and let's write it.
Because it's about them, and it's about his family, and it's about like this nucleus that we need. It's not about outside characters that don't matter. And they're finally fleshing more of them out and fleshing out these families and the reasons we should care and why Obie is the way he is. Oh, his mother's the kind of person that will blame this on someone and then they will, unalive themselves. Like, that's crazy. No wonder he's the opposite.
Exactly. He doesn't want blood on his hands.
Yeah.
And his sister is very much, assumed the role like, baby, we were raised on this.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we want it or not, it's on us too. And he's like, it ends with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's ready to go to war.
Yeah.
And I like that about him.
Me too.
I have some respect for the kid now.
Finally. Oh man, I was like, yay. So let's talk about this luncheon that happened. Luna, is she getting a love interest, you guys?
No, I know.
They're going to do something with her. Oh my God. That's not just giving advice to people. I'm so excited about it. I'm like, ugh.
Give the woman something.
Give her something. And like he talks again to Luna and he's like, you know, I know that like we all know that this relationship has broken him and like he needs to stop giving shits. And then we get a little glimpse of the original Max of him. And then he goes toe to toe with Audrey's dad. And because again, Luna gives great advice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she does.
I love that Kate is trying to play Georgina's game, but will also play it poorly. Like her whole idea of trying to get rid of Georgina is to pretend like her mom is there. Because as we know, Georgina and her mother are not good. Mm-hmm. And like they're going to use Jordan. Georgina's using Jordan as proxy. Again, so much went down. I have notes that are out of control and I'm so sorry. I'm trying to piece this all together.
Rohypnol on Aki and Julian to make them like to get them in a precarious situation.
Yes. And I love that other teacher's like, save one for me.
Oh my God, that's not the end. When they're talking, she sticks it behind her ear.
I know, it's so funny.
I did not catch that.
Yeah,
I didn't. I was like, someone really did save the Rohypnol for her. Like,
she's so funny. But I love that like Jordan's willing to do this because he has like a secret now that Georgina has on him, and he's got to hide it forever. And he's like, "Well, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna Rohypnol these teenagers." And Kate's like, "You cannot drug teenagers. That was not a line we're gonna cross." And I just thought that was so good.
There's something about this new Jordan ever since he's laid with the devil. That there's something like
I wrote since Jordan became straight. I wrote since Jordan became straight.
We both said, I need to know, Shawn, did you think Jordan was gay?
No.
Oh, we're wrong.
I have terrible gaydar though, so.
The whole time, Kiki and I thought Jordan was gay. So when he made this Kate confession, we're like, how did we do that? Where did that come from?
With friends. And I just feel like the actor must be in real life or something. Like I need some information because my gaydar has never been that bad.
Yeah.
Never.
But there's something about this new Jordan. I don't know. Yeah. Like he's like, even though like, yes, he's trying to drug some children, but there's something about him that's like more enticing and more engaging. Like he's now like he's becoming a juicier character now too. I feel like everybody's getting a little bit more substance, a little bit more like nastiness to them. And that's exactly what I've been waiting for.
Same. I agree completely.
The claws are coming out.
The claws are coming out. We learned that Zoya and Mrs. DeHaan, like basically the whole thing was to like teach her daughter a lesson and get her to feel like guilty for not listening to her mom. It was like a very weird story point reveal of that. When she's like, oh, good. And then hugs her. And then Monet comes over all pissed. I thought it was very odd.
Yeah, it's one of the writers' like forced conflicts, like these problems. Like, and we've talked about this a lot in this show. It's like one of those things. It's like, does that make a whole lot of sense?
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't. But we'll go with it.
I know. And then her jealousy makes her send a message to Gossip Girl about Zoya's sex tape scandal. You know, it's like, why would you do that? And like her mom's pissed at her because she knows the blowback she's going to get for something like that. Because it seems like she's like sex shaming and victim shaming and victim blaming. And it's like, yeah, that's what she's doing. That's exactly what's happening. And that's how, you know, Gossip Girl twists it. Because again, Monet, just like Julian, is real dumb.
Real dumb.
Try to play a grown-up's game and they get played. Jessica shows up to this luncheon in the same dress that Julian is going to be wearing. And it's like, oh. Well, that's great because this whole luncheon was like debut the one dress, right? So she's like in this what do you call it? The trench coat jacket to like hide it. And she's, has like this whole thing. She was going to debut it in order to like save Kiki's line and be like, this is this line. But instead, Jessica beats her to the punch. And that's how we learn about her hacking into the computers and how she gets all of Kiki's information.
But could they have picked an uglier trench coat for her to wear around the party? It was like thick middle of winter wool. Like,
I know.
True hobo chic.
It really was. And then of course, so go ahead.
And over such like a delicate dress, and we're on our way to spring, don't make no sense.
Don't make no sense. It was so ugly. And then Audrey waiting to fight with Julian, just waiting, like seething in the winds, makes a whole scene in front of everyone, the paparazzi, the party, everyone, and rips her mother's dress. Jessica jumps up and claims the moment like it was planned for her. I'm like, this girl.
I hate her.
The worst. When she gets it, I hope she gets it at the end of this season.
I do too.
She deserves it. And then, of course, Audrey blames Julian for the whole ordeal, saying that it's because she always needs to be the center of attention, and which is the Julian we've heard about, but never saw in season 1. So in a way, they're fleshing all of this out. And this is the beginning of the Serena, the knockoff Serena Blair rivalry that Gossip Girl desperately needs, that I'm actually really here for, even though it kind of comes out of nowhere.
From childhood, who turn on each other. That is the drama. That is the tea.
It's the resentment people hold within for so long, and then it just explodes because you weren't able to talk about it before.
This fight definitely makes sense to me. It doesn't seem like a forced conflict. I think it has been building for a long time. And I think having Julian has, her corner with Luna and like, I guess Monet, I don't know where her and Monet are right now, but Julian has her corner and then Audrey has her boys, so that kind of leads a clear divide in between like our lead cast, between these two. So I think that could bring a lot of interesting storylines to the forefront.
I also think that it's like evidently very clear that I've always said Audrey doesn't have a place here. Like, she's such a goody good. Like, she's, the worst thing about her is she's in a throuple, and she even had a spiraling conflict about that. And she's so like high anxiety and anxious. And then she has like these cool bad bitch friends who are like always out partying. And this makes more sense with them fighting, because a lot of that is history. It's not true, conflict of interest or anything. It's just like, we're friends because we've been friends for so long. We really don't have that much in common.
Yeah.
All of Julian's other friends are about the spotlight, about the clout. Audrey doesn't want any of that smoke.
True.
And she's always been the character. So it's like, why are they friends? Well, maybe because they've been friends since kindergarten or something.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, Audrey still annoys the crap out of me. But
the worst character.
Absolutely. But I'm here for whatever this is that's happening.
Exactly. At least this is something interesting, and she's not fighting about whether her two boyfriends are having sex with each other on a vacation.
Oh my God. Jesus.
We're beefing her up.
Yeah.
That whole thing, Shawn, you weren't here for. And
I wasn't.
That was obnoxious. I'm like,
so dumb.
As we said, that was we had that whole thing already. Why are we rehashing it? Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, this is finally it's separating the characters, but bringing them all back together and giving them their own storylines again that have to do with each other, and as well as like individualizing themselves, which we haven't had in so long.
As well as intertwining the parents.
Yes.
Because we always needed the parents.
Yep. Speaking of parents, Audrey finally confronts her father and Jessica at the end of this luncheon. And I'm like, bitch, where's this been? This is what you should have done from the get when they showed up. And then I just wrote, Max eviscerates him.
Yes, and it was amazing. Basically, like, you're miserable and you want everyone else to be miserable around you. So bye-bye, basically.
Yeah, it was so good. I was like, there he goes. There's our Maximilian.
Yes.
And so let's talk about these like buttons cliffhangers towards the end of the episode. Julie and Obie want to get back to who they were before Gigi. So
I'm okay with it. I'm excited about it. I like Obie now.
Oh my God, I like him too. Like, he was so cute on this couch.
Yes.
When he was like getting a little closer. And then he's like, oh, I'm gonna a little closer. And I was just like, why is this so cute? And why is he so handsome all of a sudden?
I know. Where did he get handsome? He wasn't handsome before.
Y'all are ridiculous. He did not get cuter. It's that energy.
It's energy.
It's the energy. I was like, oh, why do I find him attractive now? Why is he so charming
on him? And you guys are like, oh, I like it. He is the same. But different, because they're doing something with him. That is right.
Yeah, exactly. And that just tells you, like, confidence and a little bit of charm take you a long way.
Amen.
That's all I gotta say. And then they make out. Kate realizes that she has feelings for Jordan. She's like, and confesses them. And so she's gonna go talk to him, but instead Georgina rolls up again and tells her that she slept with Jordan, tainting him the way she
take my sloppy seconds.
This was such a great moment for Georgina. I'm sorry.
It was some Biggie Tupac type of beat. I was like, wow.
She's like, I'm tainting him the way you tainted Gossip Girl.
She's so good.
This is why they cannot get rid of Georgina. Like, they have to keep her. She is making the show.
I just thought it was so funny. But honestly, I wouldn't think he was tainted either. I'd be like, well, if she maybe she got satisfied. We'll be all right. I wouldn't be upset. I'd be like, that's fine. Kiki, poor Kiki. Kiki is like spiraled back. Her career is over. Audrey's getting pulled back, and all she wants to do is help her mother. And I just feel so bad for her because she's worked so hard to better herself and get this line off the ground. And then it's just the rug is pulled out from under her. And I feel terrible.
And this is a storyline that we've seen since the very beginning since episode 3, I think, of season 1 of Kiki and her struggle with mental illness and trying to get over this. And so we've seen this actually progress throughout the 2 seasons. So it leaves a lot more of an impact seeing her go back to that place again.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I'm so sad for her because we've seen her, as you said, work so hard to get here. Zoya and her dad finally kind of talk things out and apologize to each other and talk about how they haven't really been themselves and how they want to go back to who they truly are. And I was like, oh, well, look at that little lovely moment. And then, we see Obie still secretly texting with Gossip Girl because he's trying to take his mom down which I didn't mention, during the luncheon, which was when Gossip Girl was supposed to post about his mother, she was so caught up in the Georgina drama and posting the photo of her kissing Jordan so that it's tainted, which is why Georgina hates it. It's about the teachers now, and they shouldn't do that. She lets his mother get away with murder.
Yeah.
Literally. Which is a huge, huge issue. And now she's headed to Germany or Denmark or something. And they won't extradite her if something happens. She's like, she knows she's in a safe space.
Yeah. And then doesn't she tell Obie that he can have the apartment back and everything?
Yeah. And so
what was that? Like, why is she doing that to him? Does she know that he has anything to do with this, or?
Maybe. His mother's real smart, as we've learned, the parents are very, very, very smart in this series. And they outsmart facts. And they outsmart their children all the time. Right. So it's possible that even maybe his sister let something slip a little bit. Yeah. And, they left early. They left the country early.
Or maybe Georgina knows what's happening, working, because Georgina also did have that German number and they thought it was Obie. So maybe Georgina is being paid too.
Maybe. Maybe.
That's where my brain went. But do you see why I said Georgina Thanos snapped Gossip Girl?
Absolutely. She reset the timeline.
The timeline.
In the best way possible.
All go. And I'm so appreciative of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Me too. This is what needed to happen. This is the version. I've said this a million times now. This is the version it should have been last season. Like starting with episode 5, that's where we should have started with season 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and then if we see Julian and Obie together, then them breaking up makes more sense. And then him with Zoya would make more sense of why that would cause another issue. It didn't make sense for season 1. It was in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were trying to force
together, so we didn't care.
And force characters. They were forcing everything in episode 1. Everything felt so forced. And now everything feels like it's coming into place in just the right way. Yeah. And all of the drama just feels so much like better. Like I'm going more like, like this season way more than I did at, last season. So it's great.
Like I said, I had to pause. I had to write. My notes are all over the place because I'm like, how do I even organize this?
I was so on my phone and I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Like I need Jesus. This makes no sense. this makes no sense.
I know. And just wait. Because as everyone knows, and Shawn, you weren't here for this, but we made an announcement about how we watch these episodes early. Because, we were getting a little bit of flack for missing some things in the first couple episodes. And that's because they add things and they don't update the screeners. HBOMax, I'm going to need you to fix that.
It's every streamer, though. It happens to every streamer.
It happens to all of us. It's just so frustrating because it makes us look like idiots and like we don't pay attention. But I'm like, if all three of us missed it, it wasn't there.
Yeah.
It's like when I say. Yeah. So yeah. This episode was freaking great.
It's so good. I'm so ready for more.
Me too.
This has taken my spot of best episode of the season thus far.
I would agree.
So we'll see if what's to come can do better.
I know, guys, my notes for episode 8 are much better. So, so we'll see you next week. We'll see how this goes. Until then, Shawn, tell them where to find you.
You can find me at Lost in the Reel on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And I talk about movies and TV, and I will see you there.
Kiki!
I'm always here. You just come back to Smells Like Teen Angst. Exactly. And you can see me itching or fixing my lipstick. And being weird.
I like it. And as always, I'm Sarah. I'm always on Smells Like Teen Angst, and we always do these fun things for you. Thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.